welcome back to Project Independence and You, Community Talk Radio on 88.1 FM. Of course, our co-host is Otto and the fabulous radio show producer, Kristina Liu. We were talking with Mike Yataro and just got so much incredible safety information for everyone and really appreciate everything, all the information he provided. And now we have our special guest, as always, is Nassau County Executive Laura Curran. How are you today?
Hi, good morning. So I caught the last bit that you had with our Fire Marshal, Acting Chief Fire Marshal Mike Yataro. And I just have to say, the fire marshals have done such a wonderful job. And I'm speaking specifically, well, always, but specifically throughout the pandemic. They really had to pivot and had to visit businesses where there were complaints and, make sure everyone was doing the right thing. And they handled it in such a calm and professional way. I'm really proud of the work that they did. So I'm happy that you had him on. We
had a very good session with Mike. He's getting promoted next week, right?
Yes, he is. Yeah. He's definitely earned it, and I'm looking forward to his leadership of the department.
He's a good man.
Yeah, he provided a lot of good information. A lot of good information for the seniors and for everybody it really applies to. But so we were really appreciative of that. So how are you? What's happening in the county? What's a grand update?
Well, the grand update is, unfortunately, we're seeing a bit of an uptick in cases of coronavirus, and we believe it is due to this Delta variant. Now, we've all been speaking for the past few weeks about our really great vaccination rate. We're close to 97% of 65 and older.
Clearly we all read that there's a big uptick, and I have people in my own family who I have to discuss with the fact that they haven't gotten a vaccine. And it's difficult to get the point across to some people. And that's a challenge, I believe, on your end on a larger scale. What makes people not want to get the vaccine?
So in answer to your question, Otto, a lot of people don't, they're not trusting the vaccine. They think it's too new. There's a lot of different reasons as to why people don't want to take it. So I believe that our job is not to shame. Our job is to get the information out there. We're having webinars with all different communities, town hall on Facebook Live, all these different ways of communicating with people, with health experts from those communities, and also making it as accessible as possible. So yesterday, for instance, we were in the village of Hempstead announcing with the Mayor Hobbs, a student vaccine days. So we're doing 5 days for students specifically to get vaccinated, because we want our school year to be as normal as possible. We want children to have a normal school year, to be able to learn, to be able to be with their peers, to do sports, to be social, to be out there in the world where they need to be. And for that to happen, we need to get our vaccine rate better. However, I have to say, so I mentioned the 65 and older. We have close to 97% of people 65 and older are vaccinated. 81% of people in Nassau who are 18 and older are vaccinated. That means they've had at least one dose of the vaccine. So we're doing well. We're really leading the state and we're leading the country, but we really need to make that final push, especially in our African-American community and Latino community and among young people, where the percentages aren't as high as the general population. And one thing I would say is, kids under 12 aren't eligible yet. So if you have a child who is in that age group who has respiratory problems or has a compromised immune system, you might want to be a little more careful as there's more of this Delta variant around.
Yeah. I wonder if there was kind of like less people or fewer people getting vaccinated after we opened up. I think everybody just, I think people wanted to just forget about it and be like, okay, we're safe now, back to normal. I didn't get it. I'm probably not going to get it, so I don't need to get the shot. I think there's like this almost, denial about it. So I think you're so right just about continuing the education and information out there and how important it is and all the reasons why it's so important. Because if somebody, it might be true, someone may get it and be okay, but someone they love may not be, and that person could get sick from them.
Yeah, and
You know,
I
and
agree.
sorry, go ahead, Otto.
No, I'm saying I agree with your approach. I mean, you have to take it from a positive perspective that encourage why they should get this done, not knock it down or politicize it, if you will. I think it's the right approach.
That's right, Otto, because if you politicize it, you just automatically turn a bunch of people off.
Right.
And,
that's,
you
I
have to
believe,
sort of come at them where they are.
yeah, and I think that's part of what happened in the beginning, but that's a different topic.
Right.
Right, right. We could talk about that another time, but it's true. And we also, we want to remind everyone that it's free. It's widely available now, and we are finding we still have one of our pods open from our county health department. Is there's a distribution site that's still open. It's just one day a week, and we are getting a few more people showing up now. Now that Delta's coming, we are seeing a little bit of an uptick in people interested in getting the vaccine. So I would just say, if you're on the fence, if you're thinking about it, if you're not sure, don't listen to me. I am an elected official. I'm not a doctor, but go talk to your doctor, talk to a health professional that you trust, and then make the decision that's right for you. Now is the time to have that conversation if you were putting it off.
Right.
A different topic is there was a lot of positive information about how the county has weathered the financial storm from pandemic. And I think it would be nice if you could talk about some positives that happened.
Yeah. In how I run county government, we provide very important services, health department, police, sewage, you name it, very important stuff. But we need to do it in a financially responsible way. So that's how I've run since I got into office 3.5 years ago, without raising property taxes. So we haven't gone an extra dime in property taxes since I've taken over. So we were in good shape getting into the pandemic. We had a surplus, which was good. And then, of course, our sales tax plummeted. 40% of our budget, it's a $3.3 billion budget. 40% of that comes from sales tax. Business shut down, society shut down, sales tax plummet, worried sick. How are we going to continue to supply the services that we do? So we were able to manage, and then we refinanced our debt at historically low rates. So we're in very good shape. We probably got it at the best possible moment for refinancing the debt. So we're in very good shape. And again, had a surplus, which was wonderful. Now, on top of that, we have money from the federal government, from the American Recovery Plan, American Rescue Plan. I always forget which one it is, ARP, the ARP. And so that's going to help us now get help. We're working with our legislature. We're getting help out to small businesses. We're getting help out for more mental health counseling, youth programs, programs for seniors, veterans, because our shared goal is to make sure that every community, every facet of our economy can recover as robustly as possible. So we want to use this money to make sure that that happens, this extra money that we have. I mean, how often is it that you are able to, in Nassau County, we have had historically deficits. We have had historic chronic budgetary problems. And, the fact that we're doing very well with balanced books is wonderful.
How does it work? Like you said, sales tax has plummeted. Does the county get anything? Let's say I buy something on Amazon or any online sales. There's a tax taken out. Does the county get any of that, or how does that work?
Yeah, so actually there was a time about 2 years ago where we were not getting that sales tax. So if you were buying from a third party out of state vendor, Nassau County wasn't getting the sales tax. And that really put our local mom and pop shops, our local business at a disadvantage. So that change was made up in Albany. So basically any purchase that's done in Nassau County will get a little bit of that. The state has scooped up a nice amount of that, but the county does get some of it. So that's helpful.
Okay.
Well, this is, thank you so much. I know that we only have you for one segment today, but I just want to throw in there some really fun information. The shows at Eisenhower Park have been terrific. Dan just gave me the 1 minute signal, so we don't even have enough time, but I wanted to just put it out there that it's been wonderful that we have been opening
Yeah,
up.
go to our
Able-
website. Go to our website, nassaucountiny.gov/parks. We've got an amazing lineup and thousands of people are coming. Did movie night last night in Eisenhower Park, thousands of people. We have Sir Paul, a tribute to the Beatles, coming on Saturday night.
County Executive Laura Curran, we have to take a break. I am so sorry. Thank you so much for joining us on Project Independence in You, and we will be right back.
WCWP is your home for great music and great conversation. You'll find all that and more on WCWP.org. Listen live on the web, check out the lineup, subscribe to podcasts, and stay up to date on the latest station events. Get in touch with us and let us know if you like what you're hearing. And find out how you can support or get involved at the only community public radio station serving Nassau's North Shore. Plus, sign up to get a free bumper sticker. It's all online at WCWP.org.
So welcome back to Project Independence and You, Community Talk Radio on 88.1 FM and WCWP.org. I am your co-host today, Rebecca Miller, and our co-host, as always, is the wonderful Otto and our radio show producer, Kristina Liu. We had some great guests today. Mike Utaro just giving us really important information on fire safety and kind of explained a lot about volunteering and the whole process, and he's getting a nice promotion. He's going to be the first assistant chief fire marshal for all of Nassau County's fire marshal's office. So it was
actually going to be the chief.
He is
right?
going to be the chief.
He's going to be the chief. Right now, he's the assistant chief. He's getting
Right.
promoted to chief.
being the fire marshal. Right.
I stand corrected, and
There you
that
go.
is wonderful. So well deserving. He definitely has a lot of information and a lot of experience. So it was really good to have him on. And then of course we had County Executive Laura Curran, who gave us some updates on the finances of the county and also the COVID update, just things that have been changing and how we can best inform people of Nassau County, how to get them all the information and the facts so that people can, remember and remind them that we still all need to be vaccinated. And the good news too, which is that the county's opened up and there's some wonderful things going on in the parks, and county executive was giving us the web address to kind of check out the calendar so everybody can continue having a fun-filled summer in Nassau County. So Kristina, what is happening in the town?
I know. I mean, this is quite the jam-packed show. It flew by all of a sudden. I really went very, very fast today, and I have to say that, obviously the first segment was so important, and as we were saying to everyone, and I mean, these are things that I think people take for granted, these different, what goes on with these volunteer fire department and the training. I mean, I'm so glad that you guys touched upon that, because I think that's so important. I mean, the immense training in all different aspects that they had, and they're just good little reminder tips, because I think everyone knows these things, which is a kind of a refresher as to really, what to do with your smoke detectors and whatnot. So, and then little tips and those dreaded space heaters.
As usual, Kristina always pulling together the best guests with the best information, and really makes it easy to talk to them, because there's just, they're always on the show, not long enough. And it seems like toward the end, we're really getting into it. And then it's like, okay, bye.
That's why we have them back on, and next week we have another great segment. We're going to have on Christine Pusateri, who's a speech pathologist, who's going to talk about speech pathology in this world of masks and with children and adults. And so she's going to kind of go into that realm, which should be very interesting. So that's next week. And I know, because we didn't have a show last week, so we really need to dive into everything that's going on. So I want everyone to tune into that, and I just want to remind people that you can listen to anything you might have missed, whether you want to watch the video or the audio. You can go to the Project Independent website. Just go to northhempsteadny.gov, and you can just click on Project Independence is the fastest kind of route there, or you can just go on YouTube to WCWP radio, and you can see the videos on there too. So there's all different ways of doing it. And the website's great because there's a search bar. So if you know the topic, you can just type it in and then pull it up for whatever you want to listen to. So there's been a lot of great guests and segments, and everything is kind of timeless. It's just really good information. So definitely check that out.
It'd be 10 years worth of stuff on that.
It's right. I know we are rapidly approaching our 10 years, which I really just can't even believe that's happening. So that's coming in September, which is very exciting. And just some other kind of segments that are coming this summer I'd love to promote is that in August, which I can't believe I'm even talking about August. It's unfortunately summer's going a little too fast. I want to press pause a little bit. But
Kristina, are you one of those people that it's Memorial Day and then you're like, oh, summer's over, after, like I have friends who say that, or like after 4th of July, I can't believe the summer's over. It's like, you have 2 months, stop,
It's true. It's true. But it's going way too fast. It just makes it is, we all wait so long for it. And then it's just like, phew. So, but August, we have on August 6th, we're having on Jenna Tuda, who is from the animal shelter, the Town of North Hempstead's animal shelter, and she's going to talk about the benefits for pets for seniors. This is something I know that really grew also during the pandemic, because a lot of people were isolated and were adopting pets and dogs. And it's unfortunate because I was speaking with my husband, and a lot of people are like bringing their animals back. And there was actually a press release just the other day that the animal shelter was just trying to remind people that they still have several dogs there up for adoption that the owner couldn't take care of them anymore, or whatever the reasoning was. So she'll talk about that, which is really great because it certainly serves as a companion and kind of a therapy animal, for many people. And then we're going to have, we have a couple of repeated shows. We're going to do some old time radios as well in August. And then we have on George Martinez. He'll be coming on in August. He's the deputy commissioner over at the Nassau County Department of Human Services, Office for the Aging. He's going to discuss the benefits of Robo Pets. I think everyone in the news has kind of heard this, buzzword term. It sounds so futuristic. And you think of this robotic dog, but it's not a toy. It's actually something that really has gained a lot of momentum because obviously it's a little easier to take care of than an actual dog, but it's still been proven to kind of show these similar positive effects. I was actually yesterday, I was on a webinar summit, and they were discussing all these different agencies, how the benefit of these Robo Pets really are. So we talk about it all the time, Otto and myself. So I'm glad that George Martinez will come on because the county was very involved in getting these Robo Pets.
I was going to get a Robo Pet for my sister-in-law who's in a facility. But it turns out that I can't get her a Robo Pet in the facility because they have several that they share with the people in the place. And in some cases, they do not want to be involved with the management of an individual Robo Pet. So I'd like to hear.
I know, because I'm curious to know like what is involved in having a Robo Pet. It's very but I've seen that's how I think a couple of months ago we were talking about this because there was some kind of article in the Times or something about it. So, and it's increasingly so, which I have to say, I feel like once we schedule a topic on this show, all of a sudden there's a lot of buzz on different, local papers and different things, whatnot. So I think everyone should tune in just to educate themselves, and it might be something that's good for you or someone that so that is in August, and then September we're gonna have a bunch.
What I have with those pets is, do you charge them at night?
Right.
Like how long do they last? I mean,
Right.
when you think about the companionship they provide for a senior who may not be able to take an animal out of the house, maybe they've always had a pet but really can't take care of a pet anymore. I mean, it really is a wonderful.
I know. I'm really looking forward to it because, like I said, I hear the word all the time, but I don't necessarily know everything that goes into it. So that should be really, really interesting.
I mean, are there different models of Robo Pets that can do different things?
We're gonna find out. We will, and that's what I'm sure
hamsters. Yeah.
Write these questions down because we could ask all these questions in August. And then in September, we're going to have segments, which I'm very excited from We're going to have the emergency management specialist over at FEMA. And she's going to come on because September is National Preparedness Month. So we'll talk about all those things and a refresher, because I think it's so important to stress all these things. As we know, you can never be too prepared because you don't know what might happen, flash to this crazy pandemic. So being prepared and being on top of things is certainly the best kind of mode that we promote. And then we're also going to have the senior director from the National Council on Aging for Center of Healthy Aging is going to talk about social isolation, staying independent, and fall prevention awareness. So she's going to talk about how that all kind of works together. And then, of course, we have on September 24th, the 10th anniversary show, which is going to be really, really fun. So Supervisor Bosworth is going to join us. And then we're kind of having it, open. Obviously, anyone that wants to participate, we'll have hop on, talk about our favorite shows, memories. I'm sure we'll laugh. I'm sure I'll cry, the usual, a usual Friday afternoon. So that is everything to come. And I also want to encourage people that if you have a suggested topic, to call 311 or 869-6311, and I will be more than happy to look into it.
All right, we have to take a quick break, but when we come back, we have to talk about 311 for a second. You've been listening to Project Independence and You on 88.1 FM and WCWP.org. We'll be right back.
So I get this call from my grandma, and she's like,
"What's a podcast and how much does it cost?"
So I tell her, podcasts are like radio shows, but you can download them on any device and listen to them anywhere at any time, and they're free. And then she says,
"I see, but where can you find good ones?"
And I'm like, go to WCWP.org/podcast and check out the lineup of original shows, or download any podcast app on your phone or tablet and search for LIU Studios. And she's all like,
"Oh, that sounds easy."
And then she asked me what an app is.
LIU Studios podcasts, available on any podcast app. Those little button things on your phone screen. Just ask your grandkids.
Welcome back to Project Independence and You here at Senior Talk Radio. We're in our second segment with Talk of the Town with Kristina Liu. And right before break, Kristina was talking about some programming and how to best get in touch with the town. And of course, we always say call 311 or 869-6311. So one of the things to note is if you are on your cell phone, and if you may not even have a home phone. So if you don't,
I know, because it's funny. I was actually thinking about that, Beck, because when we started, a lot of people had landlines, but there's a lot of people now who don't. So I think it's just the rule of thumb is just do the 516-869-6311 number.
That's right. Because one of the issues that we run into is, especially with transportation, if when a senior calls for a return trip, so if they're at the doctor or if they're at food shopping and they're using Project Independence transportation, if they, for some reason, are having difficulty getting through to the taxi company for their return trip, they should call 311 because we can always assist them. However, if you dial 311, you're going to more than likely get New York City's 311, and they'll probably hang up on you. So what you need to do is program 516-869-6311 into your cell phone. And, so whenever you plan to call 311, you just dial it directly. And this way you'll always get the call center. So 311 is really the town's call center. By dialing 311 from your landline at home, that's how you access it, by dialing 311. But everyone else in every other situation should just dial the full number.
Just a suggestion on that, if like some people might have a problem doing that. So ask somebody to put that phone number into your phone, and then you can put an icon on the screen that says this is 311, and really all they would have to do is hit the icon to make the call.
Right. So whatever type of cell phone you have, if you're not familiar with putting the contact in, ask somebody to help you with it. And, like what Otto was saying, is there's probably a way of just hitting one either icon or number for a fast dial. So that's a great idea.
Absolutely. And while we're talking about, 311 and transportation, a couple of weeks ago, we promoted, some changes that were going on in the transportation program that were effective as of July. So those were just that the food shopping is Monday through Friday between 10 a.m. and 2 p.m. And this is really to avoid that rush hour piece. And then there is no weekend transportation, right? So those were the two main changes, except for essential medical appointments. So those were the two major changes.
Even people need to call where it's really because Kristina and we do not work weekends. So if anything were to arise, and though 311 is open on the weekends, they are not full time. So having transportation on the weekend has run into situations where we're unable to help. If something comes up, if somebody can't get through to a taxi company. But with Project Independence Transportation, it's important to note that it is an option. It should be looked at as like, your circle of support or your toolbox. It's one of the ways that you can get food shopping and to your doctor in the town, but it shouldn't be your only way. So, if you should also always have a backup plan, and that goes with
anything, right?
Anywhere you go using any transportation, make sure somebody knows where you're going. If you know someone who lives nearby that has a car, just always make sure you have a backup plan, because so many things happen. I mean, even we've had some like massive traffic backups where it's, very hot out and the taxi is late running to get somebody, and maybe they're only a block or two away from their house. We've had that happen. So always have a backup plan. Save those numbers, Otto. I think it's so important to emphasize, if you do have a cell phone, make sure you have all those important numbers in your cell phone. And then it's just yes.
No, I'm sorry, but here's another thought. All right. You talk about food shopping. Suppose you have a daughter that lives in Michigan. Your daughter in Michigan can actually food shop for you by going on Instacart or King Cullen or Stop and Shop or whatever. They can enter orders for you there for delivery to your door. And that's worth having as a backup plan in your circle of support. Even if they can't physically go to the store, you can talk to them on the phone about what you need, and they can actually order food for you.
No, that's a great point too, Otto. And that's something I think all of us can relate to at any age, especially during this pandemic, that became kind of a thing. I mean, that was the first time I used any of these services, was during this pandemic. And I have to say, it was a very, obviously it was very hard to get appointments because we were in a crazy time, but on your average thing, if I was to do it now, it's not that difficult, and you schedule the date and then the time, you get a window. And it's a really pretty seamless thing. And I think that that's a great point, Otto, that if you don't have family here, you can still kind of coordinate with them for, to get these, services.
Yeah.
And I mean, a lot of them do. I mean, look at CVS, they deliver, so that became kind of a thing, that was a perk, during this whole time, that a lot of these, chain kind of organizations, have that now. So it's,
you can
you're almost not paying a delivery fee. I mean, even, supermarkets, maybe you'll provide a tip, but just like transportation, going to the supermarket, it doesn't have to be the only way you get.
Well, part two, if you think a little bit more about that concept, all right, my daughter in Michigan can go on my chart or follow my health or whatever, and and communicate with the doctor with email, see all the stuff that's going on. They always put a visit recap on my chart after you've been to the doctor. So your family, not right on top of you necessarily, but they can help you manage your health with things like that. I mean, I use my chart all the time. I'll name a pharmacy, but like Walgreens or any of them, you can actually manage. You do not have to be right on top of them. You can do it from Michigan or Iowa or wherever you might live to help people who have maybe not the technical capability to do it, but they can talk to you on the phone and say, you know, I really need to get my blood pressure medicine or whatever. And they can do refill to the doctor. They can do a refill order for the pharmacy, which can be delivered to your home. You don't have to pick it up in the store, and it's free. You know, there's a lot of things.
No,
If you
you're
think
right. And
about
that's
it,
what I think is so important is, you know, as you're saying, is to know your options out there, because there are a lot of ways. And this is one of the beautiful things about technology is that, you know, we're able, that is true. Because listen, like tons of our Project Independence members, especially, don't have family right around the corner, you know,
Right.
so it's nice that there can still be this collaborative family effort, you know, that the senior isn't, you know, just left on their own trying to navigate all these different things. So that's a great point, Otto. And I think that it's certainly important. And you could always call Project Independence, you know, and talk to a social worker or a nurse and kind of work through these different options. So it's definitely,
You know, Christine, I think I have an idea for a next chat or some kind of support group, and it would be for a Project Independence member, and we can do it on Zoom, maybe to bring an advocate with them, and we could have the meeting and talk to people about if you're going to be an advocate. So not necessarily a family member, but someone who's willing to kind of understand the needs that the senior has and how they could help. I don't know. We'll have to talk about it, but maybe, you know, maybe it's another way to kind of help people. You know, so many seniors, Otto, and I'm sure you're aware of this, they don't want to ask for help.
Yeah.
They feel like, you know, as they get older, maybe a little bit more frail, that their independence has kind of been kind of fleeting as it is. And then to actually ask for help is such a dilemma. And I think people feel like they're afraid that things will be taken away from them, you know, and that's why Project Independence is so important, that we stay to our message, which is aging in place. So everything we're doing with Project Independence is to help you live in your home as safe as possible, whether it's, you know, taking a free fitness class online, a transportation ride, you know, completing your circle of support, speaking with one of our incredible trained social workers or nurses. I mean,
and it's, you know, it's the education piece, I think, is so, you know, that's half the battle. And I mean, with seniors and with anyone, frankly, it's doing the legwork, right, of figuring out all these different options out there. It's a lot easier to be like, I'm not even dealing with it, like this is a pain, you know, because it takes work. I mean, look, we always say Otto's the shining example of, you know, what I wish every senior would do, because he's so, you know, research oriented and thorough. But, you know, like, listen, unfortunately, your average person isn't going to do that. And it's hard, and I don't blame it. It's a difficult thing to figure, like, where do I begin? I mean, we have this conversation all the time, you know, so that's the great part about Project Independence is, listen, we might not be directly providing that service to you, but we can connect you to it, you know? So it's ruling out, you know, having to do all that, you know, crazy, you know, stuff with all realms of things. So I think that that's, and that's what's great about this show, is that we are just building our database of research, you know, and referrals for people, because it's like, what happens here, you know, as you know, people obviously can listen and archive, but, you know, it also goes back to our team who now has, you know, more information. I mean, you know, we learn something every day on this show.
We've just talked about adds a huge dimension to the circle of support. And that's technology that I don't have to know. I don't have to know how to use the computer. I maybe have I may have a grandson, a granddaughter, my daughter, my son, maybe an old friend who's computer literate. And, you know, part of the circle of support really, then, if you think about it, what pharmacy do you use? What doctor do you use? What site are they on? Like there's My Chart or Follow My Health. You know, I mean, these things that can be added to the circle of support. What store do you use to shop? Do you go to Stop and Shop or King Cullen or wherever? You know, if you think about it, a lot of this can be helped. The people can help manage that from anywhere.
Right.
And you're not giving up anything. You talk about banking. Maybe I can handle, a trusted family member can handle your banking and the paying of bills. And you can do that by saying, Kristina, I have a bill here from whoever, and it's every month for my electric. So, okay, you could put this onto the system and pay the bill for them from Michigan, automatically. So
Are you reenacting a call I just got from my dad? No. So he's like, B, I need your help, because my dad is clearly on the younger end of a senior, but is not exactly the most tech savvy of people. So of course it's the go-to, but you're so right. And it's something that can be, is important. And I think, Otto, this is something we should have offline, because I've been working on kind of getting that circle support in my downtime kind of digitized. So,
well, we actually have to take a quick break. We will continue talking with Kristina Liu with Talk of the Town and co-host Otto Los. We will be right back. You've been listening to Project Independence in You on 88.1 and WCWP.org.
Take WCWP with you wherever you go with the WCWP app. Listen live 24/7 to all of our streams, all from one app. Plus, call the studios directly from the app and visit our social media. Download the app through the iOS App Store on Apple devices or the Google Play Store on Android by searching WCWP Radio, or visit WCWP.org for links. The WCWP app, available now on iOS and Android devices.
Welcome back to Project Independence in You on Community Talk Radio, 88.1 FM and WCWP.org. I'm your host, Rebecca Miller, and the co-host today, Otto Los, and of course, Kristina Liu, the radio show producer for all these incredible shows. I still can't believe we're approaching 10 years on Project Independence in You. It's just wonderful. This is also our last segment of the show, so it's going really fast. And, we were talking a lot, of course, about Project Independence and the whole process. And, it's the one thing we have to remember with Project Independence is that, we are a progressive program. Of course, we're an aging in place program. And the fact is that seniors, just like all over the country, are living longer. And we still have baby boomers turning 65, 10,000 a day, according to AARP, 10,000 people a day turning 65 every day of the year. So there's a huge need for Project Independence, and more so because the population is getting older, and it's going to continue at, that rate until I think the last year of the baby boomers are people that were born in 1964.
Disagree.
So when those people turn 65 will be the last year of the baby boomers. And then I guess that type of population will kind of go. But just think about that. So you have people turning 65 every day. And then you have people, it's not unusual anymore to say, hey, my grandma's, 100 or.
I know, it's funny you said that, Beck, because I've been reviewing, Project Independence surveys come in, daily, and Paula Ewell, who's deputy commissioner also, and myself look through these surveys. And then I can put them all in a spreadsheet, so we have all of the data. And the age has increased. It's interesting. It's been working two ways. There's been a lot of younger end seniors coming in, but just this week, it was 90, 91, 92. And it was like boom, 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 one after the other. And I'm input. And it was just, it actually struck me because I was like, wow, this is amazing. When you're looking at the year of birth, and then putting that in. So it's certainly something, that goes with what you're saying.
Well, what's interesting? Yeah, but what's interesting about that is you get classified as a senior at 60, let's say, by Project Independence standards.
Right.
But I'm not 92, but I'm saying you're 92, all right? That's a 32-year spread between where you are in life and where that person who's 92 is in life. Right. So the needs of the population within that vary greatly. It's like somebody being a year old and 33 years old.
Right.
Is there a difference in your needs? Yes, there is.
Absolutely.
You know, and
I think we could
you know,
speak to that because Project Independence now has been around for, a very long time. And we've seen a lot of seniors, have been with us through that journey. And we certainly can see, the evolution of needs. And I think that's what makes Project Independence so amazing, that we are also constantly trying to do is kind of have something for, every stage of, life, because as you said, that is a huge, span of time. So, there are seniors who can start with us that just might be interested in volunteering or the exercise program or, participating on the radio show or the advisory, whatever it might be, having an inclusive environment, for everyone at all different stages of, that aging process, because that is a big chunk. I look at like saying 60, the fact that you can be part of Project Independence at 60 is crazy, because I know a lot of 60-year-olds and they do not think of themselves as seniors,
Yeah, well, there's a huge difference between 60 and 85. There really is. But you don't know it though. You don't realize it because it's like watching water drip out of a sink. it just drops down. And
I wonder,
one day you look back and you say, where the hell did that go?
I have a lot of friends who are 60, turning 60. I'm going to be there before a blink of an eye. I know no one who's that age who is not working. We're all working. We're all working full time. I know very, very few are retiring. I wonder, like, I know that they do studies, and I know that we did one recent, there was one recent, but when do people retire today? Like, what is that average age? I know if you were born 1960 or beyond, so you can't collect full Social Security until you're 67. So anyone born before 1960, they can collect their Social Security, the full benefit at 65. So, people have to work longer.
Listen, my mom, it's like the running joke because she's been at Nassau County since she was it's 40 years, like wild. So that's always the talk, because it's like, she's 67 now, and they're like, when is Barbara ever going to retire? And she can, but it's just, I think it's just it's a constant battle, it's a daily struggle, she flip-flops, and I think it's hard because you're right. Listen, so many people are working, and it's not that uncommon to see now, whereas you would think like, back in the day, people would retire, but the fact of the matter is too, if you're living longer, now it's like a change in the whole dynamic of things. So it's interesting. And that's why I'm always the girl in the friend group. If someone complains that they're getting older or they're turning 40, like my husband, who, complains all the time. Oh my God. I was like, I work with seniors. You're being ridiculous. So I'm always
I was turning 40.
I'm always the voice of reason in the group. I'm like, you guys, you really need to stop, because listen, I know a lot of seniors who are quite active, and I have to, of course I throw around Otto as my prime example and inspiration in all things of the aging process. But it's certainly interesting, and it's something that I think we always kind of try and match and think about, because it is this, crazy evolution of things.
Right.
It's complicated.
People like our real seasoned Project Independence members, the ones that have been using, 15, 16 years now.
Yeah.
I mean, if you were part of Newark, you have, that's 2006, right?
Crazy.
2005, 2006. Yeah. So, for those people who are, super familiar, I think that, maybe they're ready, maybe some people are ready, like Otto, to maybe ask someone to be their advocate, because they understand Project Independence and that we're here to help people age in place, not to take away. But, it's so interesting how many more people 60 and over are, in the town, and how important Project Independence is to their livelihood.
Absolutely.
Well, I have the good fortune of having 3 daughters that live within 10 to 15 minutes of where we are. All right. And Bunny, my wife, and I talk about it often. Like, I think, she had some real complications with torn muscles in both shoulders, her knee, her legs. This is worth the story, by the way. She went for physical therapy because of her shoulders. So because she went to physical therapy for her shoulders, they decided one day that they weren't ready for her. So the young lady suggested, well, why don't you go on a stationary bike? So she goes on a stationary bike for 15 minutes. Well, she hardly could walk for up until like now. Frankly, she couldn't get out of bed. She couldn't walk because her legs were, with the knee problem she has, which is arthritic, and then combine this, she should have never been told to go on the bike. But my point is that as a result of that, she was almost legless. She couldn't really move. And I had certain things I had to do, like I described, going to Deptford, New Jersey. So our daughters were there to help. But we both talked about how difficult it would be if we didn't have A, each other, and B, the girls, the family, the son even helps, from afar. So we very much empathize and understand what people might have to go through who don't have that. And there's a lot of people that have that. We happen to be fortunate. I know that, but there's a lot of people just don't have
and that's why I think it goes back to what we were talking about earlier, and it's building that circle of support, document. So this way, like you can, and like, and I know a lot of people are hesitant to do so because I know I would be this way too. It's like, you want to have everything filled out and checked off. Okay. And here's my circle of support. I'm all done, like turn it in for your grade. But it's really an ongoing thing. And I think it's important to know, like, half the battle with filling out the circle of support is seeing where your gaps are, and then it's like, oh, wow, I don't know what I'd put for here, and
that's it's evolving too. It evolves.
Yeah, of course. And that's when you can really work through it with the social worker. I mean, listen, obviously we said project independence can't be there 24/7 for you, but they can certainly, the social workers can help kind of work through these things with you, and I think that it's important to really do and to recognize, so this way you're as prepared as possible, because unfortunately, not everyone has a fabulous daughter like myself. No, I was kidding.
You are fabulous. And speaking of which, our conversation's gone so long. We only probably have a few minutes left. So is there any
so I just want to do some quick events, because next Monday is another Fun Day Monday. So that's July 26th. It kicks off at 9:00, and that's Fitness with Mike Mancini. If you'd like to do that.
It's going to be Margaret on
Oh,
Monday.
Margaret's coming in?
Mike had a conflict, yes.
Oh.
So she'll be.
Oh, there you go. So you heard it here first. So Margaret, and then at 10:00 to 12:00 will be live music from Simpatico.
That's right.
Who we've actually had for a bunch of Project Independence events. They are fabulous. So that is going to be there. There is transportation available at different sites. So you can call 311 or 869-6311. And Beck, there's no food being served, correct, at this? So
correct. Just a continuation to keep everybody as safe as possible. We do not have the cafe. However, it doesn't mean that people can't bring their own little picnic.
Right.
You can bring your own stuff. We do have water. We have water bottles that we'll be giving out, but we're not doing the coffee. We're not trying to limit things hand to hand. But, you're welcome to bring, lovely snacks or drinks for yourself or your group. People did last Monday.
Okay, great. So I encourage everyone to check that out. It should hopefully be a beautiful week. And there are tons. The town has drive-in concerts and concerts by candlelight. So there's a whole lot of things going on. If you are interested.
And I think that's it. I mean, we are done. Have a wonderful weekend. If anybody has any questions, again, about anything we discussed, you can always call 869-6311 or see one of the shows that are archived. Thank you so much for listening to Project Independence and You, Community Talk Radio on 88.1 and WCWP.org. Thanks, Otto. It was another great show. Have a wonderful weekend, all.